Let's get back to painting more trees. Last time we learned how to paint these two trees using the same simple techniques and just switching up where those techniques go and the shapes we create. This time we're going to be jumping into these two trees, which again are using some similar techniques, still similar to even our first trees, but these ones are a bit more wet on wet, and we're going to embrace using a tissue to remove and soften our values along the way. So let's get started. All right, I'm gonna be waking up my greens. I've got a deep green and a sap green. My deep green is a bit bluer, so I'm adding water to that, and my sap green is a bit warmer, so I've added water to that to wake up those greens. Now, as we know, when we are painting trees or painting anything in watercolor, we want to go from light to dark. Building up those values is what makes that object look 3D or have depth. So I think I might actually start with my sap green. However, this sap green is very green. I am using Royal and Langnickel paints for this one, and most sap greens are like this. This is not just theirs, but you need to tone down this green a little bit because that is like lime green. So I'm gonna grab some brown, in this case some umber. I believe it's raw umber. I like umber because it's kind of a middle of the road brown, so I'm gonna add some of that to my green and watch how it instantly mutes it, makes it feel a little bit less vibrant. So that is my favorite little trick for muting colors, is just throwing a little bit of brown in it. If you want to know why that works, I love to talk about color theory, and you can check out in the description below my Color Theory Masterclass, which is an hour lecture style with lots of imagery and lots of explanations on color theory specifically for watercolor. I really had a lot of fun making that video. I actually did it live first, and then you can now see that recording if you want to go back and learn some of the in-depth color theory that goes with watercolor. Okay, so I've got my slightly muted green here, and I want to use this to do my tree. Now, I mentioned that this tree is going to be more wet on wet than our previous style trees. So I'm going to be working while it's wet and trying to move a little bit quickly. So this is where you can always pause or rewind if you need to. I got plenty of water on my paintbrush, and I'm going to create the shape of my tree. This first tree is going to be kind of a triangular shape, and you'll notice how I'm keeping all the edges bumpy and uneven because that's just how trees work. And now, while it is wet, my goal is to add in some different values. So I only want it to be wet enough that it's not going to dry right away. But if there are puddles of colors, then I'm not going to have much control over that color. So I'm trying to make sure that my paint is not blooming really quickly or spreading to places that I do not want it. Okay, I got to keep working while it's wet. I'm going to wake up my deep green here and make a second mixing area of greens. This actually could be in your best interest to mix up your greens in advance before you're working with wet paint, because now I feel a little bit rushed to get this green figured out since I don't want my paint to dry before I'm ready to paint in it. And before I jump in with this dark, I'm actually gonna use a little bit of both and just kind of meet them in the middle. And my goal here is I'm gonna create kind of 3 sections of shadow. So I put some of it right along the bottom, some of it right in the middle. You'll notice I'm kind of dabbing and poking, and a little bit right on the top. Because everything is wet, it is all soft edges. Nothing is hard. There are no exact shapes like you see in these. And this is where we can take a tissue, if we want to, kind of crumple it up nice and small and go in a little bit, even smaller, and lift out some of our light. And this will dry it. So this is gonna be where you go back and forth a little bit. So, oops. Got too light, I'll go back in, add a little bit of my dark, and work with that wet on wet. Now, I want this to dry a little bit more. Actually, I don't love the shape of it. Before I let it dry, I can still change the shape. I'm just gonna, it feels too pine tree. I want it to be a tad rounder. I'm gonna go with a few shadows. Okay, so now I've got about 3 values, right? My lightest light where I lifted it out, this kind of medium green, and a dark dark. And I'm gonna let this dry and then keep putzing with it. All right, so you can still see my different values, but I want to push this even further. If we compare to my earlier trees, these trees have a much higher contrast. They go from very light to very dark, and that's what I want to work on with this tree. So let's go back to our greens. I'm going to go with my deep green again, my cooler green, and keep waking it up and add a tiny bit, even maybe more brown than before, to really push that value darker. Now, if you are working with paint that is dry, like I am, these are not fresh globs out of the tube, it can take a little bit for it to wake up. That's totally fine. I prefer that because then I don't accidentally use it like acrylic paint. Here, I'm going over those dark areas again with lots of pokes and wiggles and dots. These dots might connect a little bit, they might not. I'm kind of trying to be a bit random with them and show those different areas. Maybe a few will even go kind of in the middle. And then what I like to do is clean my brush, dry it almost all the way. So maybe it has some damp water left, but it's pretty much dry. And I'm just gonna go and I'm just gonna smudge. Every once in a while, dry it off because you're picking up paint from the paper. And I'm just going to smudge away some of the edges of those shapes to make them a bit softer. So this is where giving and taking is gonna make a big difference in your painting to keep things from getting too exact, kind of smearing and smudging them. I think I want a bit more warmth to my tree, so I'm actually gonna jump over and grab some cadmium yellow and put a little bit of green with it. And I'm just gonna jump into some of these light areas and drip a bit of that cadmium in there just to warm up the light value. So it's not like it's gray, it's white paper showing through, but it's just where there's some more light hitting the tree. Then I'm cleaning, drying my brush, and I'm gonna go and smudge and smear and even take away some of that yellow I just put down. It feels weird since I just put it there, but giving and taking away is what will make this tree feel most realistic. So let's just keep doing that. I'm gonna grab some of my sap green and I put that in some of my lighter areas. And again, I'm never being super exact. I'm thinking of the whole thing as a bunch of blobs, and that is good and helpful to have blobs. I know it's a weird concept to think about, that I'm painting blobs, expecting them to look real, but that's just kind of how trees work. I'm gonna go along the edge of my tree. In fact, one thing I'm thinking about is the center of my tree. Is it gonna be a tad darker because it's more dense? There's not as many ways you can see through the center of the tree. So I think I'll go along the center and make sure it's a bit more dense than the outside, which would mean it's a little bit darker. Okay, to push it all the way, I'm gonna get my brown and make sure I've got a good amount of brown with that deep green to get a really almost more brown than green. And I'm gonna find the bottom of those areas that I really want to push dark. This is very pigmented. I have much less water on this part. And I'm just letting that really press and move the value darker. Okay. Now we can play with our tree branches and our tree trunk. So I'm gonna use my smaller brush. I'm gonna go back to that brown. I'm gonna add a little bit of brown, black to this brown because it's quite chocolatey. And I would like to have a little bit of a darker brown. So I'm mixing a little bit of black with my brown. Tree trunks always start wide and get narrower. I like to do a little bit of a wider base at the bottom. And then I'm gonna do a few branches kind of coming off the sides. Skinny, like not all of them need to be big. And then I like to hide some branches inside my tree. So look for a few light spots where you might be able to see some branches in between those leaves. Now, if your paint is very wet, you might need to dry and speed up that drying process so that these branches will make sense and not just bleed and bloom into things. You could even have a few branches that stick out past the leaves. That can be kind of fun, but again, it's a little random, a little fun to just make things different. Here's a little stick sticking out just for funsies. But look at how we have built up those layers. So it started as just a loose blob of lightness, and now it has this value and dimension where these bunches and bunches of leaves. And you don't have to do them in this row manner that I did, but it's a good way to start to practice. And then from here you could decide, oh, this area of it has its own shadow and highlights, and this area has its own shadow and highlights. So again, this technique can be applied in many different ways, which is why we're gonna do it one more time in a different tree shape. So we'll let that guy dry. I'm gonna do my next one up here. This next one is narrower. So that's why I just switched their spots, not a big deal. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my sap green to once again start with my lightest value. But again, this sap green is very, very neon. So I'm grabbing it, but I'm gonna also jump into my brown and tone it down. Okay, a little extra water on my brush. And I'm gonna make the shape of my tree. This one I'm kind of thinking is like those manicured oval, almost elliptical shaped trees where they kind of are narrow at the top and bottom, and then they're trimmed to be this kind of funky tree. And he's even gonna have a little second pom-pom of green over here because that's fun. So there's my most basic green. If I get too dark too fast on this first layer, I can dry my brush and I can lift. See how my dry brush soaks up the paint like a sponge? That can be a way to go back a little bit before you go too far or too fast. So feel free to always do that before you get too crazy involved. And then before it dries, we're gonna add a little bit of our darker value. So I'm gonna wake up my deep green, add a little bit of brown to it, and mix it with my sap green to get that kind of middle of the road value. And this one, I think I'm gonna almost work in like these sort of diagonal sections, like it's been trimmed and it's not going straight across. So I'm kind of going diagonal with my shadows and at the bottom of this guy. But because it's still wet, those shadows are not gonna perfectly have hard edges. Here I dried off my brush. I'm just gonna go and soak up a little bit because some of those edges, wherever you lift up your brush and you have paint on your brush, that's where the paint is gonna pool. So that's where I'm kind of lifting up a little bit of the extra off to make sure it doesn't get too dark too fast. I'm already liking that general shape, but you'll see, look how much lighter it is from everything else overall. So we will push that even darker once we do our wet on dry. So let's dry this part and keep going. All right, let's jump back in. I'm gonna do a little bit of that fun yellow green that I did earlier just to show where the light might be hitting. So I'm kind of dabbing it into some of those light areas. So you've got that bit of goldy yellowy green. And then I'll go back in with a medium value. So again, with that kind of mixture of the two greens, they've got a little bit of brown in them. But because everything is dry, this is gonna go on a bit darker anyways, versus when things were wet, they're not gonna be as dark as fast because they're gonna spread and move. So you do have to be ready for when you're doing wet on dry or wet paint on a dry painting, the colors will be darker than if you were to do it on a wet painting. So here I'm gonna go with my darkest value. I'm mixing up my deep green with my burnt umber, or raw umber, I think. And I'm gonna go in just with the tip of my brush and kind of dot and show where that shadow might be. One of the reasons I like to use dots is because leaves are in bunches and not every leaf is going to be in the same exact spot. So then I can kind of show that a few spare leaves off on their own are kind of doing their own thing and they've got some extra dimension and shadow. So those little dots show that texture and leafiness of the tree. All right, this is where I'm gonna take away that dimension I just added. So cleaning my brush, drying it off, and now I'm just gonna kind of smudge and smear. Dry, dab, dry, dab. So this is where we're kind of breaking up the exactness and smearing it. This is why watercolor is done in layers, because you go back and forth and back and forth. Even that shadow feels a little bit too exact, so I just go right through it. But I've still got cool colors. It's also it's increasing in value and contrast. See how much darker and lighter it is. It's meeting where my other trees are at. So I think we're getting close to the end. I'm gonna do my tree trunk and I can always go back and add more to my leaves if I want to. I'm gonna use that dark brown black mixture again, because I like the way that looked. This guy's gonna have a much skinnier tree trunk. So I'm gonna try to be very careful, because if you make a mistake, you could always go wider. But of course it's harder to go skinnier. Go with a little branch, and we'll give this kind of branch over here where it's got its little friend growing. And yeah, little delicate branches to some extent. Maybe I'll widen it just a bit at the bottom where it's gonna attach to the ground. But this one's very neatly manicured. I'm not gonna do anything crazy. There could be a branch showing somewhere else, but I'm gonna leave it like that. All right, I'm happy with how it looks. You can always go putz more. However, I like to tell people that once you are 90% happy, stop. Because if you try to get to 100, you might go backwards and end up regretting what you're doing. So just step back, take a breath, maybe add some pen to it. You probably know from my other videos, I often add pen to my watercolor. You could totally do that here and see how that might improve or change or just make it feel finished. Happy painting. I hope you found some helpful techniques. Check out my other videos to learn how to paint some more trees, and I will do one more in this little mini series to talk about some pine tree and a whole different tree. I don't actually know all the tree names, but we'll have fun painting them anyways. So I'll see you next time.